Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. Today I wanted to share my top 10 list of the best e-ink devices as I see it. My opinion may differ from yours, and that's okay. I'd love to hear from you in the comments if you think I'm crazy about some of the devices that I included on this list or some of the devices that didn't make the top 10. I think there may be some controversy in this video. So before we get started, I want to tell you what my use case is and the criteria that I use to judge a device. So I'm a note taker first, as you may be as well. I do about 80 to 85% of what I do on the device is note taking. I do occasionally read and annotate PDFs. I like to read on the device as well. Using, if I've got a third party app like the Kindle app, I like to use that. Or if I want to read just EPUBs or PDFs, I'll do that as well. I want to say for the devices that I've got in my top 10, every single one of these I purchased on my own. None of these were provided by the manufacturer. So the opinions that I'm going to share with you are based on the fact that I decided to buy these devices and then I did not return the devices. I kept them as well. And I also want to say that there are 5 or 6 other devices that did not make the top 10 that are just outside of it that are also devices that I decided to buy and keep. They just didn't make my list. So, without further ado, let's jump in and start out at the number 10 position. So, in the number 10 spot, maybe a controversial pick for this spot, but it's the iFlyTek AI Note Air 2, and this is the 8-ish inch device. This one shares the screen with a ViWoods AI Paper Mini, to include that it also has a front light, which I absolutely love. The writing feel on this device is very good, very scratchy, just enough resistance to make it really feel like a paper-like experience. Organizational features on this device are very well implemented through the use of a smart pen where you can create stars, circles, or triangles to create mark attention, sort of like star marking, focus attention, or whatever. You can create to-do items by drawing a circle with a smart pen or draw a triangle to create a title. I have covered this in 2 different videos for not only the Air 2, but also the newest AI Note 2 on how these work. It's a very good implementation. Tags are here as well. Voice transcription and meeting notes offers something that's really not found on many other devices at this point. I know Books is about to release something called meeting notes, and we'll have to wait and see what that looks like. But this one has a 4 microphone array in the 4 corners of the device that allows it to capture various speakers in a room, and it can identify these different speakers in the transcription. So comes in at number 10, a lot of benefits here. So what are the drawbacks? Why is it not higher on my list? Well, the organizational features are welcomed. There are some other shortcomings that I've covered in some of these other videos, such as it lacks layers, the ability to insert images, it lacks hyperlinks to other notes or documents. And then on this particular device, when you go to start a note, you have to choose if this is going to be a handwritten note or if it's going to be a recording note where you can record a meeting, for example, while you take handwritten notes. Right now, that's separated on this device, and I find that's a hindrance that really doesn't have to be there, and I think that they can overcome it. Also, there currently is no subfolder support to be able to have layers of your organizational folders. So I find that is a drawback as well. But great device, great portable device, great support device for another one in a multi-device ecosystem. Really love the iFlyTek AI Note Air 2. Coming in at the number 9 spot is the recently released Remarkable Paper Pro Move. I've made no bones about the fact that I love the Remarkable Paper Pro. From the writing feel, the colors, the screen in general, the multi-device sync, the partner app, all of those things are kind of just shrunk down into this device, which is a 7.3-inch device that captures everything really that the Big Brother does. Portability is fantastic with this device, and it's really fun to use. I've taken it out in the field as recently as this week and used it when taking notes on the move when I'm walking around. And it really does live up to its name, Remarkable Paper Pro Move. So the drawbacks, why is it not higher on the list? It is pricey for what it is. You can spec this thing out with a leather folio and be well over $600. or you can be much lower if you choose a cheaper folio option and decide to stay with the standard marker. I chose the Marker Plus that has the eraser on the end of it, and I love that. And it also has an odd aspect ratio at 9 by 16. So when you're looking at documents or whatever, or notes that were created on the bigger device, they are shrunk down, and then there's a piece of the top and the bottom of the screen that is not used. You can overcome that by turning this into a landscape format, and the device will show you the full width of it, but you just don't get the full length of it. But you can two-finger scroll through that and overcome that. It's also not a great e-reader. It will handle EPUBs and PDF files, although there are some limitations with that. PDF files are a little bit more limited than EPUB. You can make an EPUB fit the screen a little bit better than you can a PDF, but it really needs some kind of a third-party reader like the Kindle app or Kobo or Co-Reader. And I know that there are some hacks out there and some people that are working to make that a possibility, and it already is a possibility. If you're interested in that, just do a web search and you'll find that they're pretty far along in that process. Coming in at number 8 is the Supernote Nomad. I don't currently have this device in my hands. I still do own it. I let a friend of mine try it out. But why is it in the number 8 spot? And why did it make the top 10 list? It's, the writing feel is really one of the signature features of the Supernote platform. They use a Feel Right 2 screen protector overlaid on the device, and when that's combined with one of their ceramic nib stylus, it's really a winning combination. It really gives you that signature feel. But also the organizational features that Supernote offers are class leading in a lot of ways. The ability to create to-dos, calendar entries from your handwritten notes is really well executed and implemented here. Stars, headers, keywords, that also adds usability and really the ability to find important information in your notes later and to find it really quickly. And then the new improved digest that they just released is really an information or a data collector's dream come true. And then the partner app is really among the best in the business and offers not only syncing, but really additional opportunity to add to your digest and your notes collection as well. So what are the drawbacks? Why is it not higher? I think it's the plastic chassis really doesn't feel as premium as other devices on this list, although that kind of adds to its durability factor. So from that standpoint, I would rank it pretty high. The user interface also, even though it's very powerful, it can feel a bit dated. And then finally, I place a real high value on being able to use my ink devices whenever and wherever I want to. So the lack of a front light personally for me is a drawback. Coming in at the number 7 spot is the IFLYTEK AI Note 2, the 10.65 recently released device. This device will probably not be found on other reviewers' top 10 list, only because for some reason, some strange reason, the company decided to provide review units only for very large social media influencers, but not really for the experts in the e-ink community. And you might think that would be because it really couldn't withstand the scrutiny, but I would say that's probably wrong. So the device shares the same screen with the ViWoods AI paper and the Supernote Manta. It's one of the brighter 10.65 Carta 1300 Mobius screens out there. It has a great writing feel. The pen on paper is very scratchy, as you can hear. Hopefully you can hear that. It also holds the Guinness Book of World Records as the world's thinnest tablet. I don't know if you can see this on the screen. I've got the cover on it, but it is certainly a very thin and light tablet that's very noticeable. The hardware is very premium. And as I mentioned on the smaller device, organizational features are implemented that are very similar to Supernote with regards to being able to create to-dos, star focus items, outlines, headers, table of contents, whatever you want to call it, all the things that I mentioned before. The shortcomings that I mentioned on the smaller device in the number 10 spot, such as lack of subfolders and where they were requiring separation of handwritten and recording notes, has been fixed in this device. That's no longer an issue. And this device also has a very good partner app. But the syncing between this and the smaller 8-inch device is a little limited in that I think, and this is just my theory, but I think that the 8-inch device with the separation of those two note types, those notes are in a format that is different than this device. So notes that are created here cannot sync back to the 8-inch. However, this device has been developed to where the the notes pages from the smaller device can sync up to this device. So a little bit of a jankiness right now, but hopefully they'll fix that in the future. The shortcomings, it still does have some of the other shortcomings I mentioned in the smaller device. It is a non-frontlit device, which also keeps it from being higher on my list, but I've been very impressed with the iFlyTek AI Note 2. So coming in at the number 6 spot is the BOOX Go 10.3, sometimes referred to in some circles as the GOAT, G-O-A-T, which implies, if you're familiar in the sports world at least, the greatest of all time. So some folks think that this is probably should be in the number 1 spot. But hear me out. So why is this in the number 6 slot? Well, and why did it make my top 10? So this is a fantastic all-round device. Aesthetics are very beautiful. It carries all of the functionality that's available in the BOOX devices and the platform that really rivals Supernote in most ways. The writing feel in this is outstanding. You have a good scratchiness on there. So what are the drawbacks? Why is it not higher on the list? For me, it's a little slower, a little sluggish compared to some of the newer devices that BOOX has released. A fact that you probably wouldn't even notice unless you've also got one of those other devices. And then, like almost every other 10-inch device on the market, with the notable exception of the Kindle Scribe, it has no front light. Why can we not have a 10-inch device with the front light outside of the Kindle Scribe? That baffles me. So now we're getting into the top 5, and in the 5th position, we've got the BOOX Note Max, the big 13.3-inch black and white non-front lit device. The Note Max is really a powerhouse and an almost identical twin, but a much larger version of the Go 10.3 from a aesthetic standpoint, with the white, chin or border on the side. But this time it's been beefed up with more power under the hood, and it's a much more fluid experience. The screen is beautiful, but it does suffer from excessive ghosting. I'll talk about in just a second. The writing feel on this device is just absolutely superb. It's outstanding. So talk about the drawbacks real quick. Why is it not higher on the list? I'm going to go back to that ghosting issue. It's been an issue on this device really since launch, and BOOX just cannot seem to find a way to fix it. Is it a hardware issue? Is it a software issue? Who knows? But it persists about a year after launch. I have a gesture set up to be able to manually refresh the screen as needed, so I don't really let that be a major distraction when I use this device. But one of the biggest drawbacks for me is it does not have a front light, so you can't use it everywhere. In the number 4 spot, we have the other BOOX 13.3-inch device, the BOOX Tab XC, which adds color and a front light. So why is this in the number 4 spot? This may be the best all-round color e-ink Android tablet on the market right now. It's fast, super fast for e-ink. It's not going to be an iPad, for example, an LCD or an OLED screen fast. But the screen is the best implementation of Kaleido 3 that I've seen to date. That may be soon rivaled by the new Kindle Scribe Colorsoft. That remains to be seen, so who knows? But it is a joy to use for reading, annotating PDFs in almost full size, browsing, office documents, etc. So what are the drawbacks? Why is it not higher? Well, the number one drawback is that they decided to move away from Wacom EMR for the stylus, and they've gone with an active proprietary stylus instead. So the writing feel out of the box is not the greatest. It's very slippery. It's sort of almost iPad-like, although it's better than an iPad and an Apple Pencil. There is not a surface layer or a writing surface on top of the screen, which, hey, it makes the screen look stunning, but it's at the expense of the writing feel. So they tried to integrate haptics to compensate for that, the lack of the writing feel in the feedback, but it just doesn't work for me. So I mitigate this. I don't have it on here right now, but I mitigate this by using a Healing Shield screen protector, which requires a break-in. When you first put it on, it feels too stiff, like your pencil's meeting too much resistance. But if you take a microfiber cloth or your hand and you rub it down, you can pretty much remove whatever that factory coating is pretty quickly and make that writing feel good. But I'm only judging these devices how they come from the manufacturer. So this one, while though it's a contender for me for the number one spot, I think that one drawback probably keeps it squarely at number 4. All right, now we're getting down to number 3. One of my favorite devices, really, since I've been into e-ink, is the remarkable Paper Pro, the full-size 11.8-inch device. This uses a front-lit Gallery 3 color screen, different than the Kaleido 3, where the Kaleido 3 uses a color filter on top of a black and white layer, which gives it a little bit more of a grainy look. This is probably the best looking color screen in my opinion, also has a front light. The writing feel, as I mentioned when I was talking about the Remarkable Move, the smaller device, to me this is one of the best writing feel, the writing experience of any device on the market. Remarkable also has one of the best multi-device syncs on the market, and also one of the best partner apps. It's very simple to use, and now it has handwriting search, the ability to organize your tags, and it's really probably the best device for most people looking to get into e-ink. So what are the drawbacks? Well, while it's a great note-taking device, it really falls short as a reader, as I mentioned with the Remarkable Move. It does read PDF and EPUBs, but it really has no other tools or app availability to leverage your library in something like Kindle or any other ecosystem. It is marketed as distraction-free, but a little extra functionality and organizational features would be very welcomed here, Remarkable. Coming in at number 2 and formerly number 1, if you want to find out why it's no longer number 1, I've got a video out there called something to the effect of Note Air 5C, Goodbye Supernote. I really didn't say goodbye to Supernote. I just relegated it to some other duties other than my work daily carry. I still do use this for other applications almost daily. So why is this number 2? Well, everything I said about the Nomad applies here from a positive and a negative standpoint. I did forget to mention device modularity, that, it's got this removable cover on the back and you can upgrade the device from, a lot of aspects, your motherboard, the battery, some other things can be upgraded here or replaced if they go bad. So, really a great device, one of the best organizational devices out there, and they continue to make this even stronger and stronger. They released some updates recently that allows you to be able to sync this to a private server instead of using a cloud storage or even Supernote's cloud storage. So I think that this device is going to become more popular, even more popular with folks that are very tech savvy, that are very security savvy, and or security conscious. That they want a device that they can really customize and make it fit their workflow. That's not who I am, and that's not how I use it. So all that stuff is really not that important to me. I just kind of use it out of the box. Great device. It's the only device out there that has a drawing app, Atelier. Nobody else really has that. So what are the drawbacks and why is it not number 1? So this is definitely a contender for number 1. It only gets nudged because of a couple of things, and it's really my own preferences. There's no front light, as I keep saying. There's no color, and there's no app store. Your mileage may vary on these preferences. I'd love to hear if they do, but those are some important things to me and what gets this nudged out of the number 1 spot. So in my number 1 spot, you've probably already guessed it or deduced it, or maybe not. There's several devices that have not shown up on this list yet, and that may or may not fall in the number 1 spot, or they may fall outside of the number 10 spot. But you probably have already guessed it if you're a regular viewer of my channel or if you've seen any of my previous videos. It is the Note Air 5C by Books. So why is this number one? So this is a fantastic all-round device with all the features, customization that Books is known for. It has the full Google Play Store functionality, so you can make this device into pretty much whatever you want. Of course, given the limitations of e-ink technology, it has a front light, which I cherish to be able to use this device in any environment or any lighting condition, rather. And it also has a very beautiful color Kaleido 3 screen. The way the organizational tools work on the Books platform versus Supernote is one of the reasons that this one rose above the Manta. You can go back and look at that video from a couple of weeks ago and check that out and see what those things are. And not only the fact that it has a front light, but also that I have color that allows me to draw attention to items in my notes and highlights and PDF annotations is really a game changer for me. So, what are the drawbacks? Very few. I think that the portability of this device, when I compare this to the Books Tab XC, they really contend for the number one spot for me. The writing feel out of the box for the Tab XC is what knocked it to the number four spot. But if I were to apply that healing shield, it might move up into number two and knock the Manta out. But like I said, I'm judging these out of the box. The only reason it wouldn't knock the Note Air 5C out of the top spot is the portability of this is a higher priority for me than the size. Now, I do like to take the larger books devices to work and be able to use those on a desktop. The real estate for writing is wonderful, but for an all-round device, this one really takes the top spot. The other drawbacks of this has to do with this pen and some of the controversy surrounding that, to where when you dock it to the side of the device, it hits the volume down button. Books is claiming that you should dock it lower, which it's a not quite as strong of an attachment there. But I just ignore all that because I hate the pin flap that it comes with. So on this device, I installed a pin loop that it fits into very securely. I did learn through some of the viewers that you can twist this cap and it locks it in, so that's not going to come apart. So I'm no longer afraid to use that clip to hold on to that pin loop. And I've got a pretty good solution there, as you can see, for securing my pen. So that is my top 10 list of e-ink devices that I currently personally own, and I own a lot more. As you noticed, there were some devices, some major manufacturer devices that did not make my top 10 list, notably the ViWoods or the ViWoods, AI Paper and the AI Paper Mini. The reason that they were knocked out of the top 10 was a couple of things. I keep mentioning the front light is a priority for me. The Mini has a front light. What really knocks this out for me is that I want to use a multi-device configuration. So every device that I've got on my list, the Books, the Supernote, the Remarkable, the iFlyTek, they're all multi-device configurations. So I've got larger devices and I've got smaller devices. And they all sync up together. The iFlyTek only syncs from the small to the large and not the other way around. I think they'll probably fix that. But it does give me the ability to use that smaller device in the iFlyTek in the field and know that that's going to go back up to my main device. So that's a really good feeling for me. So the reason ViWoods did not make it into the top 10 is that they do not have multiple device sync. They don't even have a partner app where your documents can live on that app. And, they say it's for security concerns. They say that they can't do the sync because it's open source and it's too difficult to do. Well, that's too bad, ViWoods, because you didn't make my top 10 list. Not that that matters to anybody except for me, but that's why they didn't make my top 10 list. And then plus the fact that although they're continuing to make improvements in their software, it's still a little disjointed with the Meetings app and the Papers app, and the lack of uniformity in the filing system and all that stuff really keeps them out of my top 10. Would they be in my top 15? Absolutely. They're just outside of the top 10, so it's not like I don't like the ViWoods devices. I think they're great devices. I continually monitor the updates that come out on those devices, and I'm intrigued by the things that they're doing. Also outside of the top 10 is the Kindle Scribe. That device has one of the best looking black and white e-ink screens on the market. The front light on that thing is well implemented. It is absolutely beautiful. I'm very much looking forward to the release of the new Kindles. Hopefully they'll be out, sometime before the Christmas holidays, and we'll get to review them here. And then there's also a plethora of miniature devices that I didn't touch on, such as the ViWoods AI Paper Reader, the Palma 2 Pro, and devices like that, the Palma 2, devices like that, that I think are probably in a different category, or at least outside of the top 10. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you disagree with anything or you have a different listing, I would love to hear about it in the comments. If you wanted to, put your top 10 in the order that you would rank them in the comments, or tell me I'm crazy for including something, IFLYTEK, or excluding something, ViWoods, you can give it to me in the comments. Just be civil, please. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.